everybody. Welcome to the Reap Smite League. We got a good one today, Lucio. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. I got my coffee. I'm ready to cast both of these games tonight. Oh, let me get the screen. And I had some tacos. We were just talking about that. So I'm doing great. I'm really excited for this match.
I think it's going to be a good one. We got Nachos Supremos as well as Daddy Daycare going up to start last SDL matchup of the week, I believe. So I think it's going to be a good one. We got some familiar faces and some new folks as well. What are you going to be looking for in these picks and bans?
I mean, look, picks and bans are a little bit of a mess always when it comes in between phases in the SPL because people are like, "Oh, this thing is crazy," and then nobody's there to verify it, or you just kind of stay behind with the meta from what happens in phase. But no matter what, I want to see an RDO, banned or picked. RDO's just been a good all around god in Smite right now, and she's just been kind of tearing it up, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. And, we see the Cerberus taken away already. That should just spell this is an RDO game because I think that's kind of becoming the patented solo lane matchup. Cerberus wins the lane, maybe loses the game to the RDO, but RDO just so dominant those team fights, it's hard to ever really want to give it away to anybody.
hmm And it's a weird situation right now. Solo has become like this this heated battleground for what god are you gonna let through there, right? Right now, we see basically four solo bans with a possible fifth flex pick out of the six. That's insane. Cerberus, Gilgamesh, Odin are all gonna be gone. Hell could go in solo, and in fact, we're gonna go ahead and see one of those like solo possible gods in this Osiris. But I think that's gonna have to go to jungle. Osiris is just so good in jungle.
I agree, and what that means is that you get two high valued picks for this team with the Artemis and the Persephone. I give a little bit of a spoiler here. I know the Daddy's Daycare team pretty well coaching for them, but they like these picks. I know what they can do, but Osiris always going to be tough to deal with. If Narcos really knows how to pilot that thing, it could just be, I don't know, entirely unstoppable. Is that a fair way to put it?
Yeah, it could be an issue. And I think one of the things is that with that top two pick that dedicate daycare locked in, Persephone Artemis, you've kind of helped alleviate the threat of an RDO. Because RDO gets locked in and not just Supremos if they wanted it. They didn't end up picking it up. But even if they had,
Hmm.
that is such a tough matchup for RDO to go into. And they basically have to let it go. And Daddy Daycare now get the top three gods that if you had to go out there and be like, yo, what do I want my composition to be? Okay, backline Persephone Artemis. What I want in solo Ardio. You got three of those gods. Now it doesn't matter what you pick in those last two slots.
Yeah, and it looks like Daycare are going to double down on that Artemis advantage. Just take away some comfort picks for Zelda. You know that you're not going to pick anything better than Artemis in just a straight up matchup sense right now. So just take away what they're comfortable with, get them on something they don't like maybe, and also something that's just not going to be able to fight an Artemis. And I don't know, a couple junglers taken away for the Supremos, but you're right. That big three for Daddy Daycare, that is huge so far.
Yeah, and add that with a Fafnir that's getting locked in here. That Artemis is really going to start melting things away. Really, what I want to see Nacho Supremos kind of pull towards, especially in the ADC role, maybe a Hachiman, a god that's going to be relatively safe, relatively going to stall out that lane with the Artemis. Not going to lose hard, not going to win it. It is what it is. Jing Wei would still be a good option here as well with that CC immune ult, able to go over a wall, get out of a bad situation, use those things to kind of create some space. Instead, it is going to be this Izanami. Still kind of almost similar concept. You have a very safe god in Izanami. My only concern here, there ain't no CC immunity in that ult. And if she gets hit by that board, she gets hit by Grasp of Death, she ain't got no beads. That's it. There's no getting out of that situation.
Yeah, and that dash it is fairly telegraphed, especially for a hunter movement ability. If you get jumped on by an RDO, dashed at, I suppose. Not a jump, but you know what I mean. If you're up there in the RDO space, you can't get away. You don't have CC immunity if you don't have beads. I think this is a tough situation, but this is something that I've seen a lot from some of the scrims out of the SDL. Players really value this Izanami pick. They see it as a really good matchup into the Artemis because of that early aggression. How do you feel about that matchup in lane outside of the safety?
In lane, it's pretty good for Izanami pre-level 5 because again, that ultimate not being online for that Artemis means that Izanami can really play around with that aggression. And if she's able to get a solid lead early on, Artemis should really kind of be put down into the ground for a little bit, buys your team time before Artemis is able to rotate. But once if you're even at level 5, Artemis should have that win. Like that is gonna be so hard for Izanami to fight into because of the fact that she has the pre-beads. She also might have to use her ultimate before Artemis. And it's just a big question on whether or not Artemis can react to the Dark Portal. But Camazot's being locked in here for Daddy Daycare. I think that's the weakest pick, right? I think that's fair to say. It's the weakest pick out of the 5. It's still not a terrible pick.
No, yeah, and when you're looking at Fafnir, Ardeo, Artemis, Persephone, I think you could have picked basically anything there, and it would have been the weakest pick with the way
Olarum?
jungling is right now.
Olarum?
I
Even
don't know.
Olarum? Eh.
I do love Volaron. You get it. But I like this. This is Bearded's kind of signature jungler right now. If he's not playing Osiris, I expect this Camazotz to come out. And I think it's a great pick into this Izanami, right? If you catch the Echo from the 1, she cannot stealth. If you have the 2 on her, that tick damage is going to kill that stealth as well. So it seems like a niche pick into the enemy hunter and something that he's highly comfortable on. And sometimes that's all it takes, right? It is the SDL. If you know what you're doing and you really know how to play one of these less popular characters, I wouldn't be surprised if Zelda has never played into that matchup with a Camazotz diving you.
Yeah, Kama has kind of not seen the light of day, no pun intended or anything like that, in Smite Pro League for a while now. And even when you get to that CC, SOC, not a common pickup, but he's kind of seen a resurgence now with the amount of damage he can output with the kind of resurgence of healers because he is an individual healer for himself, and he's really good at that with those pulls, with the vampiric bats, all of that type of stuff. Another thing is that Bat Out of Hell can spot out Izanami pretty well because even if she goes invis, Bat Out of Hell covers a lot of a lot of ground. You just gotta hit her once, and then you're like, oh, there she is, go again. I'm a little concerned here for Nachos Supremos' draft. Okay, you got 2 gods here that really hate getting caught out in a bad situation, Ganesh and Izanami. Artemis and Persephone can abuse the fact that those gods have no CC immunity, have no real way to get out of a bad situation. Ardeo can keep them locked down. So now I'm really concerned because Ganesh is this weird type of support where he's super aggressive, but he gets punished when he's too out of position. And now you can't even use his Dharmic Pillars as an aggressive tool anymore because if you do, you know for a fact Ganesh is dead. There's no question.
Right, and really a lot of reason for not just the Primos to want to stay grouped up together due to their comp. You want Ganesha to be able to peel. You want Hercules pushing people into the backline damage. But Persephone punishes that. Artemis punishes that. You know, basically this entire team that Daddy Daycare has drafted punishes you.
Oh, it looked like we had a little bit of a technical difficulty. We've had. Oh, I think he's back. Are we back? You're back. Welcome back.
Excuse me, I don't know what happened. Discord did not like me. Don't know how much of that came through, but Nacho Supremos want to stay together. Daddy Daycare also wants Nacho Supremos to stay together because they punish that really hard. So I'm interested to see how this goes. What's your pick here, though, on paper? Who do you have winning this game?
Daddy Daycare. No, it's not. It just has to be Daddy Daycare. Like it's such a strong draft, and I mean we'll have to see how it goes in game. But we're gonna have to take a small break real quick because they did have something happen with their Smite game. They crashed. They're resetting the lobby. They're gonna go straight into game, and we'll be right back and be able to bring you some Smite action.
All right, we're back. The wait is over. I know you probably couldn't contain yourself, but you don't have to anymore. We're here. Nacho Supremos, Daddy Daycare. Game 1 starts looking pretty normal. Lucio, what are you looking for in this game?
I'm really looking for Daddy Daycare to really kind of just death ball as soon as possible. Tick over to level 5, whichever one has the biggest lead. Start rolling around, roaming, finding good ultimates because literally the only one that doesn't have a good ultimate is going to be Ardeon. That's because she doesn't have one. But even she at level 5 will have 6 abilities, which is better than 4 in my opinion. I think. So
Bold, but I like that. Yeah.
ooh,
Uh oh.
oh, huh.
No, we're safe. We're safe. We're safe. We're
Woo,
safe. Nothing happened.
woo.
Just mid lane things. No. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I'm with you. I think Daddy Daycare, the sooner they can group, the better. And then not just Supremos again. I don't know how you play this comp without grouping up, but we're staying 6 feet apart in game 2 here. I do not want Tusky hitting me off of my support. That would kind of be bad, and that's how every team fight is going to feel. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I think like honestly, I kind of want to see what they just tried to do there early. Find
Hmm.
some good picks. Like Osiris is a good pick god. Like he can go and find a really good engage and lock somebody down, get that kill off of them, Hercules is going to be a really good lane bully, but he's the one getting bullied here.
Ooh.
It looks like barely gets away, but hey, solo lane things, nothing happened. We're moving on. But
Yeah,
I
not
really
too
want to
bad.
see those picks. I want to see those picks.
I agree, and that's got to be the moment. Dom's probably thinking, if I'd gone for the mask start, I'm pretty sure I kill him there. Even though he might not, he might have died instead. But he's like, that little bit extra damage, it's churning. I might have killed that Hercules right there, but not a great sign to see already. Oh, some aggression coming onto Y Guy as well. The dash not going to be enough. Stuns him just to say hello. Y is going to go away with his life, but yeah, this kind of aggression onto a Hercules is never something you like to see.
Yeah, I mean, look, the fact that you live as Hercules there is a super good information to have as not just Supremos because look, they dedicated two of their gods on this right side of the map. This is gonna let Izanami kind of do what she wants to do on this left side of the map, which is be aggressive, right? She wants to step up. She wants to be out of position. Now she knows that Camazotz is on the solo side. So why she got to worry about? What does she have to worry about? It's really gonna be nothing there. Camazotz also had to dedicate his blink to trying to kill this Hercules, who's full health, just
Mhm.
chilling. Like we saw him at 25% health twice, and he is now just chilling. It's gonna have to actually probably be this Camazotz that has to back and return to base. So I think that overall pretty good there for Nachos Supremos.
I have to agree. One thing I do want to point out is we see Cat and Zelda going in, not going to find a whole lot there. You see both junglers going with the blink. Now, for Camazotz, that's fine. There probably aren't that many things in the early game that you're going to be deathly afraid of being CC'd by because of your bad out of hell ultimate, but Narcos is going to be up against Persephone and Artemis in those mid game fights, or, the stun chain from Fafnir. I think it might be a little greedy going for that blink there, but, how do you feel about that?
Osiris, it depends, right? Like, I think the blink is nice because, again, I think you lean into the fact that before level 12, you really want to look for picks, and Osiris really needs that blink in order to do that. Not only
Mm-hmm.
that, when it comes to the Persephone ult, I could be mistaken, but I'm 90% sure that when he's in full fragmented passive, he just goes through it.
That's true. That's a great point.
So,
Is again, Afro in a lot of trouble. Alex the first going to get a good kill. Lots of pressure from Narcos in the mid lane early, and it's already paying off.
and that's that blink. That's that blink.
Yeah,
You
yeah, you're
used it
right.
to get it, and that's what you have to look for. If you put them down early, you can kind of snowball that as not just Supremos, and that's kind of what I really want to see. Because the beads on Osiris, I'm not gonna lie, feels terrible. Beads on Osiris feels
Okay,
terrible.
okay.
He just doesn't move. Like you got to dedicate an ult, or you're not getting to him anytime soon. So you might as well have the blink.
Fair enough. You know what? That's a good point. I haven't been playing a lot of jungle, as I'm sure most people haven't. Uh, an interesting storyline here in this game is we have Bearded Bro on one side in the jungle. Last season, obviously an ADC player. Narcos returning to the SDL this time. Last time I saw him, he was playing mid. So two guys potentially off rolling into the jungle. What kind of mindset do you have to take into a new role in a new season?
When you switch to roles, so I've switched to roles a lot, especially even this season. I've switched over to solo. One of the things
True.
is
Yeah.
that you have to basically think about is what did you find annoying, especially when you're a backliner moving to jungle. What
Mm-hmm.
is it that you knew that when jungles did it, it annoyed the crap out of you in terms of how they engaged on you because you couldn't really fight them back? What was your positioning? All of that things you gotta basically try to flip the script and try to think about what is it as a backliner you were doing to try to avoid the jungler, and now think about how as a jungler you can kind of beat that. And so it's like
Mm-hmm.
you try out all of these different roles so that you can understand the strengths and weaknesses. And going to jungle as a backliner, it's going to be a mechanical adjustment, but the game sense really should be there.
Good point, and that's obviously the smart way to go about it. That makes sense. What did I always hate to deal with? I'll just do that because other people feel the same way. Now we see a little bit of an invade coming out. That's something we'll probably need to see more of for Narcos. And then on the other side, Jargon already leaving for the mid lane, Cat staying those extra couple of waves. That's just going to give the Artemis a little bit of a boost. You can see it in the gold per minute. I worry about if in the long term that Izanami is going to be able to keep up with the farm of the Artemis because it's starting past level 5, right? You mentioned it. That's where Artemis starts to get the upper hand. I don't know how you gank the Artemis anymore right now.
Yeah, with what you have, you've kind of given up that lane. I think you can maybe dedicate that Raijin over there when he's able to come in and use his Taiko drums. He's going to be CC immune. He might be able to get out the damage necessary to disrupt this Artemis. But we have an engagement
Oh,
there, and there's a Taiko drums right now, and that's going to be a
Dharmic
full-on
Pillars.
engage.
Yeah, Dharmic Pillars coming out as well. Bat out of hell. They are trying to just run down Aphrodisiac. Narcos will get a kill, but he is going to die for it. Jargon gets credit. Now it might be a full disengage, 1-for-1, but again, the mid laner for Daddy Daycare just not quite getting the peel that he needs to live there. And then on the other side, Dai just getting some good damage out onto the Izanami. No ults expended, but that's still good. Nachos Supremos hanging in there, doing exactly what you recommended, just trying to get picks, hoping that if Alex gets ahead, that he can maybe carry them through this mid game. A 2-level lead is a good start.
Yeah, especially in the mid lane, because now Ryzen could make that decision on which lane he wants to help or assist, or does he want to be selfish about it and get to that level 20 first and have that massive power spike over Daddy Daycare? I think they have a lot of options. I really like what they're trying to do here, but this is going to be an interesting gank attempt. I don't think
Oh,
it's going to result in much.
yeah,
Uh,
no chance there.
yeah, I don't like this. Ganesh really not going to do much. He doesn't have ultimate available. He's really there maybe just to pull out Artemis ult, but then it's more likely he just dies straight
Mhm.
up from that. So I don't really like that rotation because he did lose a little bit of farm, but maybe you're going for the Shinto
They're
strat.
gonna try it again. Go for the purple buff. Take it away here. Even though you have a little bit of a lead on your lane opponent, I don't think you can really take a crack at trying to steal this. It's about all you can do. The Hail of Arrow's not gonna land, but all of a sudden, there's a gank under the tower. Narcos is not quite tanky enough to handle that with the stone cutting sword. Jargon is in the vicinity, but this might be a look at the gold. Scorpion, Daddy Daycare don't seem interested in contesting.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't fight for the Scorpion. Let Artemis keep on farming. Let Artemis kind of survive in her lane. She still has her beads. She still has her ultimate. She'll be fine. Izanami kind of a similar situation. But I really like, again, what Nachos Supremos is doing, which is saying, hey, we're going to deathball a little first, and we're going to go ahead and try to pretend like we're not afraid of what you have to offer us and put you on the back foot. Because Daddy Daycare is probably thinking, these guys are insane. They're over here trying to invade us. That we got ultimates. What do they got that we don't know about? And that it brings a little bit of hesitation there. And I like what Nachos are doing here.
I agree with you. I do have, as we see, a little bit of a punish attempt as Dom went for the proxy. I don't think that this is anything that Dom really has to be too worried about. But if you look, Daddy Daycare actually has the gold lead right now, despite the early aggression from Nachos Supremos. Outside of this mid lane for the Supremos, I don't think they've really had much luck. They really need to push that mid 3v3 as hard as they can. Right now, Narcos in a lot of trouble. He's able to blink out, not put in combat by that stun. But Jar isn't going to let Y Guy get away for free. The stun lock is good so far. Not a ton of damage coming out from the two Guardians, but it will be enough. The nasty breath going to get him. Y Guy falls to Jaragon.
Yeah, that was just a very greedy play by Osiris. Nauticus did not need to chase down Dom that hard. As soon as Dom was outside of that blue buff, you did your job. Get the blue
Yeah.
buff for your solo laner. Don't keep on chasing because you're literally giving time for that Fafnir to make the rotation. And now you lose that blue buff, you lose tower pressure, and you lost your solo laner. That's where this little bit of a lead is coming through. Because even though Nachos, Supremos are kind of bringing this aggression, Daddy Daycare are playing the farm game. They understand
Yeah.
that once you get to level 12, you get both relics online, and you start contesting these gold furies, Daddy Daycare just kind of almost wins. Like,
Yes.
by default, they should probably win almost every single team fight. So Nacho Supremos have to do a little bit of better job restraining their aggression, but at the same time finding pinpointed weaknesses in Daddy Daycare's setup. Like right now, how they found it in the mid lane. But that's starting to go away. Now it's only a level lead as opposed to that 2-level lead we saw earlier.
You're right, and I think part of it is what you're seeing right now. Nacho Supremos have gotten those kills. They've been able to put Aphrodisiac a little bit down in terms of levels, but let's be real here. Jaragon has been pretty much perfect on his rotations to these mid camps and to the farm. And sometimes that's what's more important. He may have been a little late to peel for his Persephone, but look, the entire left side of the map right now is still all Daddy Daycare. They're getting all that farm. They're stealing purple buffs back. So it's a big deal when the Nacho Supremos make a rotation and get a purple, and it's a full team effort. but Bearded was able to just walk in and do it all by himself. But Alex immediately going in. Dharmic Pillars in combination with the Taiko Drums going to simply eviscerate Aphrodisiac. Jaragon, nothing he can do. You can't CC the Monkey Man while he's playing the drums like that. That's going to be trouble. But now a little bit of a boxing match. Artemis versus the Izanami. And yeah, you don't fight the Artemis. You don't fight the Artemis without beads.
Yeah, that was tough. I thought Izanami might have had beads in that situation, might have been able to make something happen between the Dark Portal and that, but we got an engagement here on the Fafnir.
Jar jumped in.
But Fafnir might be in trouble. In fact, probably will be going to have to use that transformation.
He's going to go up. I think they're just going to back off. No, Narcos, you can't go back in. They just got to leave. They use so much onto Jar right there, force the ult, but they're not going to get anything. And now there's this huge rotation. Mid-farm is not getting picked up right now. Aphrodisiac getting a chance to come back again. You know, Alex the First caught out a little bit. Just one ability, Fafnir ultimate about to end. But Narcos and Alex both poked out enough that I don't think this aggression can continue. And Afra's going to be able to free farm it up in the middle lane for a little bit. And again, your mid laner is dying, but you're still getting both mid camps every rotation. Just excellent work from Daddy Daycare to be on those timers.
Yeah, I mean, look, we can't take away from what Nachos Supremos was able to do on the onset. Literally, what can we talk about when it comes to chemistry is the Ganesh and Raijin diving that Persephone so precisely and so effectively that you essentially just brought her from about 80% health to 0 in almost an instant. As Daddy Daycare able to secure this Pyromancer, but Raijin is in. No. Raijin wants something, and he's going to get it. He's going to get Afro once more.
Yeah, no chance to get out there, but he does have to blow the beads and the Aegis there. He's still in a lot of trouble, can't jump away because of the RDO. Narcos, though, collects Bearded Bro on the back end. Now Alex, all he can try to do is run away. The big elephant in there, gonna make it hard, but Jar not gonna let him go that easy. The auto attacks are his only available abilities right now. He still may not be enough, but now the blink from Dom is gonna be good. Dom gets Alex the First a little bit of a punish. Now they're gonna turn to Cat, but this looks like a wet noodle fight to me. Although he just can't go anywhere. Hercules going to throw the boulder over the wall, but Hercules might actually be a better target. They've overstayed their welcome here. Narcos is in. He's got Dumham at half health. He's going to get the stun off, but the good beads from the RDO just dash away. It looks like Jar is going to just walk right out of there. So 2 for 1 for Nachos Supremos, but I believe that would have been a shutdown kill onto Alex the First. It's going to get Dumham a 2-level lead.
Yeah, got the shutdown kill, which is pretty good, but that was just honestly a little bit of a weird situation that Nachos Supremos didn't have like a disengagement strategy. They were just like, yo, we're going to engage, and then we're going to be there. And Narcos took forever to rotate to that fight. Not sure exactly what he was doing because Camazotz was on the left side of the map. Artemis was on the left side of the map.
Yeah.
He was taking farm, I assume, but then you got to communicate that.
Bearded. Yeah, no, he followed Bearded all the way to like the speed buff area to kill him there, I believe, and then slowly arch his way back around to come back to that fight.
Yeah, you can't get too narrow-minded on the chase there because honestly, that Osiris being a little bit closer might have been the difference between Alex first getting out or not. And in this scenario, they weren't able to get out, but it does look like they're going to look towards this Gold Fury. Now, they are at an ultimate disadvantage. They are missing one ultimate off of this Hercules. But Hercules is not going to be there anyway. So this is an interesting Gold Fury pull.
I agree. Jar and... I think that if Nachos Supremos had continued to push that, they would have had a good shot at it. Jar and Afro were not quite there yet. But now it's a full-on 4v4. And the health disadvantage starting to get big. Cat already below half. The Persephone ult is huge. Bat out of hell. They're going to blow up Cat instantly. Now it is full retreat for Nachos Supremos. And this is a free Gold Fury. The ult from Alex, not going to be in time. Going to get some good damage off, it looks like, onto the support, but that's it. Nachos Supremos not able to collect the Gold Fury, and they lose 1.
Yeah, that was just a not a great call, to be honest. Again, the Ganesh not having beads means that he's just going to get blown up in any situation in which they're able to find any good CC on him. He died before he could even drop the ultimate, which is absolutely devastating to Nachos Supremos' whole game strategy. Most of their kills, I think 4 out of the 5 kills, have been a direct result of a Dharmic Pillars. Yeah. So you gotta be able to bring that ultimate up. If well, as soon as he ticks over to level 12, I really want to see a beads on him because that should show you as a support player that you really do need beads. You literally just died before you could even press a button because of a nice grasp of death coming out of that Persephone and because of nice follow up coming out of the rest of the team. So you just really need those beats because you're such an essential part of the game strat.
Yeah, and we see Tom going for that blue buff invade, not able to get it. He's going to get sundered here. He's already used his beads and had his Magi's Cloak popped. Jar is waiting around the corner. It should be more than safe. He does get his Soul Laner out. Dom not able to be punished for that attempted invade, but a little bit of a Draugr kill going to the Izanami. Gotta love the Draugr.
Yeah, and I mean honestly, look, I do have to speak on the fact that the ADC lane has been kind of quiet. As a
Mm-hmm.
whole, this entire game has been smooth sailing. Both ADC players are probably chilling. They're like, "Yo, we're farming. We're simple farmers. It ain't much, but it's honest work, let me tell you." And you can't really ask for too much, but that still scares me for Nacho Supremos because it's something that we talked about. This Artemis is just going to do so much more than
Yeah.
an Izanami will late game, unless your strategy is Izanami go split push. Us four, we're gonna hold down the fort somewhere else, but then you're taking 4v5s the entire game.
Yeah, and I think it's good that there hasn't been a ton of action. I think that's smart from Zelda to realize that you can't fight there. As Alex the First found himself in a little bit of trouble. Good stun coming out, uses the beads. Persephone ult is burned. Cat might have, excuse me, Narcos might have stepped in a little too far, but he does ult away. Gonna buy him enough space. One hammer onto Cat just to be a little bit of a bully, but not too much there. If you recall, back at around level 11, level 12, they had that 1v1 fight around the Draugr pit where Izanami just hard lost that engagement, and I think that's going to be... Ooh, that was close. That's going to be a telling thing that Zelda can't fight Die, even if he wanted to right now. Beads and Aegis might help, but you just can't win that fight. So what can you do?
Yeah, it's just going to be such a tough situation. I think at this point, again, you're just waiting for the late game. Find a place you might be able to split push effectively as Izanami and let your team kind of at least just hold it down because that is one way of abusing the fact that they have such heavy team fighting comp on the side of Daddy Daycare and say, okay, we just won't fight you in a team fight. We'll waste your time. We'll force you to commit resources to places where it matters, but it's not going to be the end. Because one thing that Daddy Daycare are really missing is objective secure. They just don't
Yeah.
have it.
You're absolutely right, and Persephone has that underrated secure with all the plants exploding at once. That can be upwards of 1,500 damage. But hey, this looks like a good engagement here. But 4 members of Nachos Supremos on this right side of the map. Now a full-on 4v4. Alex the First drops the ultimate onto the Persephone. Not going to be enough damage this time. No Dharmic Pillars used just yet. Actually, not even available. This is just a scrap right now, but a lot of tanky targets. That might be the death of Y Guy. It is. Bearded Bro going to finish him off with the bat out of hell. On the backside, though, Narco's very low. Alex the First trying to bail him out. Looks like it might be good. Dom under tower for too long. Alex is going to get credit. Bearded is going to greed for Narcos now. He is just taking on a 1v4. Jump away is going to be enough for now. Both solo laners fall. It looks like Pyro will be on the menu for Daddy Daycare. On the other side, Dai gets the enemy red buff, and he's going to rotate. This could be a fire call, potentially.
No, Dai did more than just get the red buff. He got the tier 1 and tier 2 in mid while everything was going on. So the whole strategy we talked about is Nami doing. Artemis was able to execute a little bit better. I mean, really what happened there for Nacho Supremos is that way too many of those ultimates kind of whiffed, okay? Your Ganesh ult at the beginning of the fight whiffed because Fafnir was able to transform and Persephone was able to leap right before it came back up. So, or the pillars actually came up. So she avoided all of the damage. And then Nauticus came in there with an Osiris ultimate, so Lord of the Afterlife, and just missed on Afro. It happens, but then Nacho Supremos also need to keep that in mind that maybe if those ultimates had gone in their favor, that fight might have gone a lot better for them. Because honestly, missing 3 out of those 5 ultimates, 4 that were available to you in that moment, meant that Daddy Daycare were like, okay, you're not going to burst us down fast enough because we have all this healing. One thing that's missing out of Nacho Supremos is anti-heal outside of top. You got all 3 of them, but I really needed to see a Curse Donk as well
Yeah,
That's
I think you have to curse Sonic into this team. I agree. Like everyone's getting healed in these fights, so you just got to do it.
ooh,
Oh, a
ooh,
huge
ooh.
stun coming out from the bear. Daman gets 3, but it is 2 tanky targets up there. The boar is on the move. Oh my goodness, Y guy already extremely low. Dharmic Pillar is not going to really find any damage. Daman not afraid of the tower this time. No kill on a Y guy just yet. There he goes. He falls to Bearded Bro. The tier 1 tower has fallen as well. Now it is full on retreat for Nachos Supremos. I don't know how many of them are going to get away. Alex the first is going to get a kill on the Bearded Bro on the back line, but he is low. Jaragon kills Alex the first. Jaragon kills Narcos. And oh my goodness, the entire team is gone. Deicide for Daddy Daycare. They don't have Fire Giant, but I wouldn't be surprised to see them run up this left side and maybe get a Phoenix here. They do need some minions, however. I don't think Dai was able to back following that Pyromancer pickup. They do have 13 seconds until the next member is alive. I think that should be enough with minions. Dai has the pen. This is a Phoenix.
Yeah, there should be a Phoenix call. Look, we talked about it. You need a curse song. I want Nacho Supremos to go back and say, why did we pick up 2 Sunders?
Yeah.
Like, you don't need 2 Sunders in this comp. 1 Cursed Donk will do more than both of those Sunders will do the entire game just because of the amount of healing that they'll have. Heavenly Wings is also not necessarily the worst because of the amount of slows that Daddy Daycare can pull out. But, again, just having a Cursed Donk or even a Beads on this Ganesha, you gotta have the survivability
Yeah.
and the versatility to kind of engage on the enemy's turn, so that way you can survive. And like, look how low those Daddy Daycare was at the end of that fight. You had a curse. If you had a curse donk on that, they're not healing and they're taking double damage. Like
Yeah,
that, you kill them.
yeah, you're exactly right. And what's tough too is that you buy the Sunder, and it feels like Cat's not getting killed by the tanks. Cat is getting blown up by the backline, which means that the only person anywhere close to him that he could Sunder is someone who's already a squishy. He's not been able to live long enough for Dom to actually charge in, which credit to him. You know, Dom is waiting out the Sunder. He is just waiting for those guys to die before he runs at the enemy team. And Nachos Supremos just doesn't look like they know what to do about the aggression from the RDO. As soon as RDO dashes at them, they're full retreat. Bearded might have stepped way out of line here. He's got to burn the ultimate. Walked up to just try to take the wave. Narcos is going to chase him under tower, though. Ults away, but the Tusky is on the move. Big ults coming out from Daddy Daycare. Now Jaragon going to slow down Narcos. He will fall as well. Bearded Bro going to get that last hit. Cat on the backside is in trouble. Now the cripple field from the RDO going to slow down Alex the first. Die violently picks up a double kill. Bearded Bro, a double kill of his own. Zelda, the only member of Nachos Supremos left alive, but now that the Daddy Daycare group has gotten items, I don't think that they're going to be able to stop them from just ending.
Yeah, if I'm Zelda, the only play you can make right now is clear those fire minions. That's literally it. I'm not sure. You can't defend any of these Phoenixes. Just go clear the fire minions, so that way, at the very least, if you do die, they don't get the minions as well. But they're going to be a little bit too late. It's going to be an end call here, and it's going to be a good one. But a nice Dark Portal does find that Camazot's going to take a lot of damage. They get the mid-Phoenix. This is going to be GG.
Yeah.
It's rough, right? Like, Nachos Supremos definitely put up a fight early on in the game, and I really like the way that they did put up the fight. But you gotta adjust that into the late game. You gotta make sure that you get that curse donk. You can't have no CC immunity in your kit and not get beads. That for me is just a grave error. Like, Ganesh needs beads so that way you can actually use your abilities. You can get out there and do things. That's just not gonna happen against that type of comp if you don't have beads. I think, overall, you also got to restrain that aggression. Like, Nauticals went after the Camazots. Bro, you get that ultimate, you out. You won. You won. Like, that's all you needed.
You can't build only Berserker Shield and dive the tower at that point in the game. And, Bearded probably should have just been caught out and punished by having to burn the ultimate. And it turns into, well, exactly what we saw. But I think that bottom row always tends to tell the story. Obviously, Jaragon bought Bracer, so lower his by about 5 or 10 just to be safe for what's actually wardage. But you just have to win the ward battle if you're playing those early game. We have to stop the Persephone. We have to stop the Artemis. We have to gank them early. That means you have to ward, and that just isn't going to do it with those numbers.
Yeah, I think again, what I'm impressed on and what I'll at least harp on a little bit is not just Supremos put up a fight. I genuinely thought
Mhm.
going into this it was gonna be a stop. It was gonna
Mm.
be Daddy Daycare. We're gonna hold on to the reins and make it work. Now the fact that Nacho Supremos were able to put on a fight, you make small adjustments for game two. And you go in it, you say, okay, what was the problem? Was it the Camazotz? Was it the RDO? The Artemis and the Persephone clearly weren't too much of an issue there for Nacho Supremos. I genuinely felt like the RDO and the Camazotz were just really difficult for Nacho Supremos to deal with. Maybe you get rid of those. Maybe you take the Artemis. You have a lot of options to kind of adjust and maybe get this win in game two.
Yeah, and let's hope that they do end up taking some of that advice, but we're going to take a very short break until then, and we'll see you right back in game number 2. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Did you miss us? We missed you. We really did. We're here. Game 2, Daddy Daycare versus Nacho Supremos. Lucio, what are you looking for out of Nacho Supremos now that they've got the second pick in the draft?
So with Nacho Supremos, they really have to kind of again something I highlighted in the post game was they have to figure out what for them was the most annoying. Okay, all clearly, Daddy Daycare really kind of stole a really good draft. You can't ban out all of those gods, but you can, however, ban out things that you felt like were essential to their victory, like this Artemis. That was going to be the first one. I'll be like, just get rid of Artemis. It by far is right now, I think, one of the most solid picks you can pick up. Period, so might as well just get rid of it. I think you could not have played ADC ever and make Artemis and look good on Artemis right now. That's I
Yeah,
just think that's the pick.
yeah, and you mentioned it during the intermission as well. There's really only one first pick that you can take and always feel good about it, and it's Artemis. So if you're
Mhm.
picking second and you're not banning Artemis, or if you're picking first and you don't pick it, I think you're just making a big mistake. So I agree with them banning it out, taking the Persephone away as well, just trying to see what's in Aphrodisiac's God pool. I think that's smart. But now, what do you take? What's your first pick? RDO?
I
Oh,
was actually gonna say maybe take that Raijin, but instead it's going to be this Osiris again. Osiris clearly going to be valued here at this top pick. I would have preferred to see the Raijin there because we saw what Alex was able to do with that Raijin. And if Afro even has a semblance of a Raijin, that's still a great god. I would pick that up. Osiris, still solid, flex pick potential, quote unquote. But in reality, probably most likely going to go to that jungle. But it does leave open this Gilgamesh. And in my opinion, well, nerfs have come out for both gods, but I think that Gilgamesh still has a higher impact than somebody like an Osiris.
I think it's going to depend on how it's played, of course. That's kind of the easy way out. But Gilgamesh, has that team fight potential. But we saw some issues last time with Narcos being able to be in sync with the team on those engagements. So if you're just blowing the winds of Shemesh at the start of a fight when you're diving, that's not going to do much for you.
Yeah, that is true. But I mean, like again, I think that the fact that Gilgamesh can drop kick opponents towards his team, and the fact that he can have that wins of Shamash, I just feel like that just provides an overall higher impact than an Osiris putting out a Judgment Tether or having to hit the high skill shot that is a Lord of the Afterlife. It is a high skill shot. Look, I've missed enough of those to know that they're tough to hit sometimes when they move and they use movement abilities. But Gilgamesh has a little bit more versatility. Does seem like Daddy Daycare, they're essentially going to run the same type of front line that they ran last game, and I have no complaints about that.
Yeah, I think that the Ardio and the Fafnir worked really well together. Now we see that Cerberus, we talked about it before, that's kind of the classic matchup right now for the solo lane. Cerberus, another ult that's just kind of, it can be really temperamental. If you hit it correctly, you win fights with it. No question. That Stygian Torment is going to just pick the entire team up and put them where you want, unless you miss it, or they have beads, or there's some kind of miscue. So lots of big circles for not just Supremos, but I don't know. That's execution that we didn't really see in the last game the entire time.
Yeah, and the fact that you left your back line for both teams here, back line is going to be the last pickups for both teams. That means Raijik going to get out of here. Done. And I completely agree with Daddy Daycare's decision to go ahead ban out that Raijin. So you know what? Let's see what else Alex got for us in store today. But it's a precarious situation. I think both teams are basically leveraging that their backliners have a deep enough god pool and a good enough impact that it's worth mortgaging them in favor of having this front line. Because both teams, this time I do think that Nacho Supremos and Daddy Daycare came out with relatively equitable front lines. Ymir is super impactful, so's Fafnir. Gilgamesh and Osiris menaces in the jungle. Cerberus and Artio, that's the matchup like that we've seen the last bit of the SPL. So all of these guys going to be pretty good. Now it really comes down to these backlines on how they want to separate themselves.
And we see the Scotty lock in here. This is something that Daddy Daycare. I have a feeling that the reason it took so long for them to ban Scylla is because they had in the back of their mind they must know something about Zelda, right? They banned Scotty the first game, forcing him onto that Izanami, and now Scotty comes out, right? So clearly this must be a comfort pick. I don't know exactly where Scotty fits into this bow meta, but Danzaburo being hovered here by Dai. How do you feel about that matchup? Is the Soul locked in? That is a mid lane pick that I know Afro is very comfortable on.
Yeah, I mean, but Scotty and the Donza is going to be a little harder there for Donza, in my opinion, only because of what Scotty can do in order to disrupt what Donzaburo wants to do. Oh, Donzaburo goes uses leaves. That's cool. I'm just gonna put some ice. Let's see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
I hit you with frost. You have no way of getting of getting out of the slow after I already hit you. Oh, you ulted. That's the only time where Scotty genuinely has to be afraid. Is when Donza gets on that rocket. Scotty doesn't have a good she doesn't have any real way out. She got to hit that bead, she got to hit that Aegis, and hope for the best after that. But I like the fact that Scotty has the potential to kind of outplay this Danzaburo. But Merlin into the Soul is going to be really interesting because when Merlin, not just Supremos, is saying, hey, we're going to put you on a little bit of a timer, okay? Because I don't care how big your front line is. Once Merlin gets online with a few items under his belt, he melts. That's just his thing. And the fire stance has gotten buffed over the last few patches. It's just such a menace to frontline tanks that I think that Merlin's actually a really solid pick here.
I have to agree. I don't know though. The late game of any team with 3 auto attackers and a Fafnir is always going to be tough to deal with in those team fights. I don't know how you really get to this backline at this point. You get back there, and then all of a sudden they have 2.5 attack speed, both of them, and they're just shredding you. So I don't know. Both backline mages, I think, are going to be really strong in this one. That might be the role to watch here.
Yeah, it definitely might be. I think that Nachos Supremos, what they really have to rely on is trying to outplay the front line from Daddy Daycare. Osiris comes in. All right, Gilgamesh ult him. Just leave him there. Free Ymir freeze him. Oh, he leaps out or he ults out. Cool. Get Cerberus to follow him up. Hit him with the Stygian Torment. Kill him. Because he's going to be an Osiris jungle. He's not going to be super tanky. Just go ahead and eliminate his ability to be able to dive because Osiris really has no good dive potential onto a Scotty and Merlin. What's he going to do once he hits Scotty? Scotty's going to drop ice on her feet, and Osiris is now kind of useless. Merlin can also vortex on that same ice. Now Osiris is in a lot of big trouble. Artio might have similar issues. Artio doesn't have CC immune ults. Doesn't have any CC immune in her kit. If Ymir gets a nice freeze, Gilgamesh gets a good drop kick into a Ymir wall, Cerberus gets a good stun, Cerberus has a good ultimate, Artio can be in a lot of trouble. Fafnir is the only one. I would not waste any resources on this Fafnir. If I see ults dedicated towards Fafnir, close it up. Write the playbook again. I just don't think you ignored the backline, but one of the problems of Danzaburo and Soul is that they have a lot of trouble with spacing. So if they're back far enough, you have a lot of time to play with the enemy front line because Danza has to dedicate his leaves if he wants to move anywhere. Soul has to put the separate down for the movement speed buff. So that gives you a lot of time to kind of abuse Artio and Osiris.
Yeah, and we're gonna go ahead and hop right into game number 2 in game here, but I agree. I think it's gonna be kind of execution heavy. I'm excited. I think that we have a much more even set of drafts, although I'm nervous now. I gotta be honest. Bluestone Transcendence for the Scotty.
Bluestone Transcendence. I mean, look, the bow build's not going to work on Scouty.
That's true.
You have to go a different build. It's just bow build's not going to do it. Bluestone Transcendence can work. I think that it's one of those like underrated builds that you can go because once you add a little bit of crit in there, it will start hitting like a normal ADC. And the Bluestone is just going to give her the ability to get some good early clear between her ice and her frozen spear.
Yeah, that'll be the interesting part for me. I'm with you. I think Transcendence can work, but that second item is going to be so important. I think you need the life steal, so it probably has to be Aussie. But You still see people building the Crusher second item. I think that would be really detrimental for the scaling of that character.
So there's a lot of ways you can go about it. One thing I've also seen now is grabbing a Soul Eater on
Mm,
somebody like Scotty because of the
okay.
fact that you already use abilities. It gives you pen, it gives you lifesteal, and you have 3 damaging abilities, 4, including the ultimate. So you can actually heal quite a bit. Though I don't think Scotty it procs on the Calder, so it would be only 3. But still, nonetheless, that's still going to be a decent amount of healing. It really depends on what Scotty considers her role to be, because you
Hmm.
got to remember that you have a proxy mage ADC and Merlin with his passive. He is going to be able to actually burn down towers pretty easily because he basically gets a poly proc every time he casts an ability. So your objective shred and your tower shred is actually not terrible, even if you don't go full
Oh.
attack speed.
Y guy steps up, gets punished. Bearded Bro, great patience, but now he's pathing directly into Narcos, who should be able to get a cleanup kill.
Ooh,
He
nope.
has no mana though. Dom able to scare him off. Unfortunate timing there for Narcos to just be out of mana at the wrong time.
Yeah, and that's one of those things about early game jungle is like you just don't have the mana sustain all the time. It makes it really hard to counter gank if your opponent jungle is able to find that gank. But what I really like that Nauticus is doing is he's gonna leech some of this farm, and that's good for him because it should give him a slight lead over this Osiris. Yeah, Osiris got the kill, but half a wave is a little bit more than a kill in terms of worth.
Yeah, and it's already perhaps Y guy in a tough situation. This is a lane that theoretically Cerberus should be winning, but it's so hard to play into an RDO that's ahead. But at this point, pretty even across the board. Die, though, without having the MP5 that Bluestone and Transcendence Tier 1 are going to give you. He's low on mana, and Scotty's still looking pretty good.
Yeah, that's one of the benefits of this build. I don't like the bow build either on Danzaburou because again,
Yeah.
Danzaburou not having that attack speed stim means that, you might as well rely on your abilities a little bit more, and that's exactly what Danza likes to do. So Scotty's going to be able to clear again more effectively, output more pressure on this lane. So maybe if you're Nacho Supremos, you start looking towards this duo side, knowing that you'll have so much pressure, knowing that Danza's a pretty precarious god to play. Once those beads are down, he's pretty much a dead in the water. Ooh.
Yeah, a little bit of trouble here coming out. Daman kicked under tower. It's gonna be death for him. I think he would have been better off trying to turn that and get a kill into Y guy, but Y guy's gonna pick up a return kill and get himself back into this game. Narcos, just a good job coming over. Hey man, no, I kind of failed you before, but I'm here. I haven't forgot about you.
Yeah, that's a good move here as well because again, finding that impact, abusing the fact that RDO doesn't really have doesn't have CC immunity because she didn't pick up B, she picked up that blink. Abuse the fact that she is playing aggressive because she got a small lead, and you're Gilgamesh, and that's one of the things we talked about. Drop kicking somebody like an RDO into your team, as long as you're not dropping them straight up into your back line, you could kill the RDO pretty fast.
Yeah, and we see the early rotation. Alex the First rotating out again. Got maybe a half level onto Aphrodisiac right now. Not going to find anything in that duo lane, and that's okay. But if you're going to be rotating out of mid, you need to find something. Aphrodisiac, though, needs to be careful. No wards, but Zap Rate is good for now. Drop kick into the wall is going to be fine, but Narcos too far under tower. Oh, a panic ultimate there from Aphrodisiac. Completely unnecessary, and that's going to be a valuable tool down for a bit.
Yeah, that's actually pretty massive here, especially when your lane opponent's going to be like somebody like a Merlin, because Merlin doesn't have that same kind of ultimate ability. He's
Mm-hmm.
going to try to abuse the fact that he has technically more abilities and more damage impact early on, but Osiris looks like he's kind of bullying that Merlin right now. Merlin going to go down.
Oh, yeah, a good return gank from Bearded Bro. He's been doing a good job in both of these games so far. Following up Narcos in a sense, just making sure that wherever Narcos is trying to deliver pressure, he's either there first or he's there better a lot of the time. And so Narcos not quite able to get the kill this time, but an early lead for a soul is not something that you want to see.
No, it's not. I mean, I really like how Bearded Bros playing this, and I do have to call out Alex a little bit in that regard because yeah, you want to abuse the soul's use of Disapparate and the Soul Supernova, but or Stellar Burst, no Supernova. Anyway,
Supernova, you got it.
you can't be stepping up like that as Merlin, especially when your jungler made the call that he's going towards his speed buff. made the call that he's going back towards his back camps. That means you're not going to have any help whatsoever in that fight. So you just need to play a little bit more carefully. But Danzaburo dead.
True,
Dead.
but that taunt might be good enough to kill Narcos. He will barely live. Unfortunate there, just a little bit late on the beads usage, but good kill from Narcos. That's going to buy him a little bit of time. Dai, though, did get credit for most of that wave. They might be able to put some more pressure on it here, but just no rotation coming over to the left side at all. It's unfortunate Jar not able to clean up any of that farm himself.
Yeah, and again, I think that's if you're not just Supremos, look towards this duo side. The fact that the build difference is going to be so massive in terms of how you're going to be able to sustain on this
Ooh.
side of the map, and the fact that you're going to have that pressure coming from that Skadi and Ymir pairing, and Dante's not going to have beats for a solid 2 minutes. He might as well come back and be like, "Hey, man, what's up? How you doing?" That's what I would
Yeah.
do, especially with this Cerberus falling further and further behind to this Ardio.
Yeah, I think you're gonna have to, and honestly, that brings up another question. If you're bearded bro, how many more rotations do you really want to be making to the solo side? Because let's be real, Cerberus and Ardio are both good, right? I don't think
Oh
anyone's gonna argue
no.
that they're bad. As Narcos is gonna fall. Jar picks up an early kill. Unfortunate there again, just too aggressive trying to chase those kills. Wanted to get bearded bro, then thought maybe he could box the Ardio. But how much more time do you want to spend as a jungler trying to get the Ardio ahead? Does the Ardio with a 2-level lead win you the game the same way as an ADC with a 2-level lead?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give it to. It depends on the rotations, right? If RDO can
Okay.
rotate with a 2-level lead early, that can win you the game. But having a level 20 ADC at 20 minutes is
Yeah.
gonna be way better than having a level 20 solo. It just you can burn objectives faster. You can do a lot more in team fights. It's just one of those concerns. But even though we're talking about like Scotty should have that much of a lead, it's really
Yeah.
Donzaburo has like about a quarter level lead right now. Um, it's honestly a pretty tight game right now. It's only Daddy Daycare has like a 1.2k gold lead. Nothing insane, nothing crazy. So it's all going to be about how you execute things. And really what I need to see from not just Supremos is Narcos has to have help. He clearly wants to play super aggressively and he wants to kind of bully out people. Help him out just like this rotation here onto the left side of the map.
Yeah, and you mentioned it, Dai actually having that maybe quarter of a level lead. It's an interesting spot because despite all that pressure they've been putting onto that side of the map, you see the Gold Scorpion being targeted here. There's really no I don't know. Maybe there is just because of Scotty's early game damage, but the advantage of having lifesteal and Ichabal over just Transcendence. Dai's poke, the way he's going to be able to just sustain back up, he's going to win those smaller boxing matches. I'm not really sure how well Zelda's ever going to be able to fight, but Bearded Bro blinking in, not going to find anything onto Alex the First. Ymir with a good freeze and wall, going to break that up. Did he steal that?
No,
He did not. Okay. What a bully.
no.
Get out of there, Jar. You don't belong there.
But hey, you gotta send the message that he could have stolen it if he wanted to. He could have, but I think like yeah, the build differential again is gonna let Donza poke out, especially when you consider that he can also heal off of the alluring spirits, which is his two. So he
Mm-hmm.
has that innate sustain in his kit. So Scotty has to be careful, especially with the way that they're grouping up here as Daddy Daycare. They're looking for some pressure now onto this duo side. But honestly, again, I gotta highlight how close this has been. This Gold Fury might be what tips the scales one way or another, but this is not something that Daddy Daycare can actually like
No.
dedicate to.
No, I think they were hoping that there would be no rotation there, but Cat kind of just sniffed it out. I'm not sure if it was a call from Zelda that people were missing, but Cat was booking it from base to make sure that they were not on Gold Fury, and that's good awareness because that could have very easily just been a free Gold Fury.
Yeah, and it could have been that they tripped up one of those wards up in
Mm.
that top left of the map when they rotated over, in the bottom left. They at least knew they headed towards the Gold Fury pit. Whether or not they dedicated, they find that out a little bit later. But you gotta be careful here if you're bearded, bro. You're taking a lot of Merlin damage. There's a blink. There's a freeze,
And I
and there
think he.
is. Ooh, oh!
Oh, the tick got him. The edge of the fire was enough to finish him off. Die now could be in a little bit of trouble. Beads is nothing. Ultimate by Scotty, not gonna be used. Die just doesn't have any mana right here. Jar is here. I believe he might have passed over a ward. They need to be careful. Ymir is rounding up behind as well. Alex the First, we know he's been apt to rotate, but I think they're just gonna look at this Gold Fury, and I'm not sure what Daddy Daycare is gonna be able to do about it.
That's a beautiful call. What a great call here by Nachos Supremos. They say, hey, Dante has no beads. If he steps up, we just kill him. But you gotta be careful about this soul.
Now there's an attempt, and Nacho Supremos is going to get the Gold Fury, but Cat's very low. Aphrodisiac going to clean him up. Big Scotty ult. Good job by Aphrodisiac to try to take some of those autos. But right now, disarmed is Zelda. No way to get down to Burrow, and now Zelda's in trouble. Autos coming out from Aphrodisiac. Die says, thank you very much. I will take that one. They get the Gold Fury, but they lose to Daddy Daycare, making the best of a bad situation.
Yeah, and I mean, again, it's something that it's going to be a broken record at this point. Nacho Supremos need to restrain the aggression. Scotty made a super aggressive play. Merlin was already out. Merlin was like, yo, we got the gold. I am going to leave now. But Narcos was able to pick up the kill there on Dantaburo. So maybe not as bad of a situation for Nacho Supremos. But still, when you had your Ymir die that quickly, you had your Merlin already backing up. As Scotty, there's no reason for you to dedicate any future resources. Did get a little unlucky with the disarm because I think she does pick up die violently if the disarm doesn't come through. But still, just not a play you needed to make when you already got the gold.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. But then Die getting greedy immediately after and just walking to the wave and thinking that he was safe to do that. A little unfortunate, but really, again, you're exactly right. The aggression, you have to bring it back. I just noticed there, Jargon, you have the bracer. He's going for that relic dagger. That's gonna put the the opportunity for him to have two bracers and two wards out at the same time. He's really looking to buy into the vision game. Bearded though, looks like he's pretty well trapped out. Wins a smash and the frost the frost breath both gonna not connect. I think it has to just be a disengage here. Not just Supremos though. Good job restraining themselves because I think that if Narcos dives in there, he might fall. But why not? Jump in. Let's do it. Fine. Cat finding some turret shots. Jar, for now, the only one up. Good ult and Aphrodisiac. A massive supernova is going to absolutely destroy Cat. Jargon, though, not giving up the hunt. He gets Alex to half health all by himself. Damim has arrived, but I think that's going to be the end of it. Cat absolutely exploded by the soul.
Yeah, I mean, good play by Aphrodisiac, basically being like, hey, look, I can still make moves here. Yeah, sure, he ulted me. Great, crazy. I'm going to go ahead and still do what I got to do in order to get a kill there. But, I mean, that was just one of those situations where it really starts off with Nacho Supremos losing track of the Osiris ult. Because they dedicated too many resources only for Osiris to be like, peace, I'm out now. You saw me leap. And you guys have Winds of Samaj and use Frost Breath. Like, you just dedicate a little bit too much there, and that's that communication lines that have to exist. Ymir needs to communicate, say, hey, I'm going to look for a freeze here. Wait on your Winds of Shamash. Mine's going to be on a 10-second cooldown. Yours is on a 90-second cooldown. The one is clearly better to use in this situation than the other. But it happens. It's not the end of the world. They did end up losing one in the middle, but it doesn't matter. That's a beautiful communication right there.
That was sick, but Disapparate going to get Afro away from now. Great stun from Jar is going to keep Alex the First from getting any closer. Might see a red buff invade, but that's much better than a dead mid. And now Y Guy in a lot of trouble. He's just getting walked down by the RDO. He is going to jump away. I think that's going to be enough. They might steal the Scorpion. Ooh, lots of effort across the board for not any results there, though.
Yeah, and I like the call almost. Like, I was a little bit concerned. I was like, Nacho Supremos, come on, guys. You guys can help out your boy Cerberus, right? Like, they're literally in your back camps. But one thing that's important to note there, not really any farm for Daddy Daycare to pick up outside of his blue buff. That XP camp has just come up. They already passed it by, so they're going to think that it's still down. Instead, pick up this mid tower. They get what? A blue buff, you get a mid tower, you win that trade, and now you transition.
Yeah.
It's a good play there from Nachos Supremos, man. They have cleaned up the act a little bit in terms of the game one. It looked like they were lost at this point in the game, but right now they're playing with the some new vigor.
Yeah, I agree, and good call there. Gonna get a mid tier 1 tower in return though. Bearded Bro gonna pick that one up all by himself. But I mean, you're right. That was a great turn from Nachos Supremos. It started with the teamwork. We saw the Winds of Shemesh and the Frost Breath out of the line. Well, let's try the wall and the kick. Oh, that worked out pretty well.
Yeah,
Now,
I just think it was just such a great like that's exactly what we talked about in the draft, right?
hmm
In the picks and bans phase, we said, hey, look, this is something they can look for because if Ymir puts up that wall, that's a guaranteed Gilgamesh stun, and you don't even push them that far because you put how far they go. So it's just such a good combination that is kind of underrated just because of the way it reacts. Now that was some weird leashing there
oh
of
no,
that.
he got it. He got it. Don't worry about
Okay,
it.
okay, all right, I'm
That
moving
thing's tricky.
on.
That thing's tricky. I'll give it a pass.
Um, But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and the Oni Fury is gonna be such an impactful part here as
Yeah.
well. Like I think this is gonna be the objective that's really gonna help not snowball, but let's just say it's gonna at least help tip the scales in terms of who's gonna be in towards that lead.
Yeah, and a lot of the reason that we haven't seen people really either side making a big leap so far is it's been kind of scattered victories one way or the other. There hasn't
Hmm.
been a huge wipe just yet. Afro Bush Aegis, really, whatever that was. But no immunity now going to be from the mid laner for Daddy Daycare. Dom up. Narcos is a little low. Narcos only level 13. Might need to be careful. This is some aggressive placement from Daddy Daycare, really pushing up to try to get some of this Oni Fury, but they're pushing up without anyone on the objective. Dom gets kicked. Jar goes in now. The fight is split. Nacho Supremo's front line can't get to the back line. Alex the First, though, turns a lot of damage. Bearded Bro gonna jump in onto Narcos. Narcos ultimate, not gonna find a whole lot. The Rocket does a lot of damage, but can't finish anyone off. Cerberus gets taunted in. The Artio might be next up to die. It is. Dom will be the first one to fall in this fight. Too aggressive. Dying to the Ymir ult. Now it might be time to back off. Lots of low health bars, but no kills for Daddy Daycare. I think they could still look to take this objective. They do have crit on their hunter. I think they will. Cat and Zelda, the only two people who decide to stay for Nacho Supremos. It's a 2v4. Bearded and Aphrodisiac a little low. Soul's going to be healing pretty quickly. This could come down to really close. Oh, good wall, but that can't stop. Die from autoing. The freeze is good, but it's not going to be good enough. Daddy Daycare able to claim the Oni Fury. Now it's time for a full retreat. A great taunt there. Aphrodisiac hopefully going to get away. A good stun from Jar as well. Should buy the mid laner enough time, but you need to keep W keying. No S key allowed. Time to go. Don't stop for those back camps. Just go home. Go home. It's safe back there. There you go. Free Oni Fury,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that was the only I believe in Daddy Daycare were able to get that away. I don't like the call from Nacho Supremos towards the end of that to back as many people as they did. They
Mm-hmm.
honestly, if they would have left one other person, they could have contested and probably killed.
Yeah.
Because Cat went in there had a massive freeze, and he was putting up the wall to kind of disrupt the DPS. But let's turn back the clock a little bit and talk about that tier 1 fight, right? And it's the thing that I pointed out at picks and bans. What Nacho Supremos can do is bait the aggression from Daddy Daycare. Ario, Osiris, first one to step in, gets bursted down very fast. He has to go ahead and retreat back. Now it's going to be Ardio's turn to go in. But you still have buttons because you're playing Merlin. So you're just going to go ahead and say, you know what? Bye-bye, buddy. And you put out damage in between the Scotty and the Merlin, burst them down. Now, with some help with the tower, of course. But that strategy worked. You got Artio with no beads, and now you stuck her in the middle of a bunch of damage. She just kind of dies.
Yeah, and something I'd be interested to see if we can look at Gold in Hand for a second. Zelda has been sitting on that T1 of crit for quite a while. Yeah, 3K Gold in Hand. You just can't allow at this stage of the game, and you're still out to just sit on all that gold. That's the difference between having crit in that fight. You have rage there to help blow up the Artio who hadn't bought that Spectral yet. I feel like that's just a crucial mistake where there's so much pressure on that side of the map, but you got to back. You got to spend all that gold.
Yeah, that is a lot of gold that she kind of just had up there, you know, for no real reason, really. That's why I'm saying it was really weird the way that they backed, in my opinion, and the way they backed after that little fight around the tier 1. they could have just put up such a much better fight on the objective if it was Merlin who stayed as opposed to a Scotty. Because Merlin can throw abilities over the wall. He has a lot more ways of doing poke damage than Scotty does. I just feel like they could have gotten more kills out of it. But nonetheless, we're past that. Nachos Supremos, however, despite losing that Oni Fury, only 200 gold up, down. And those Oni waves, for all intents and purposes, didn't do too much across the map. So we're at an even game state for all intents and purposes.
Yeah, and if you look, Nachos Supremos has actually captured a pretty reasonable experience lead, mostly in that middle lane and the solo lane. Actually, Y Guy has picked up a 2-level lead as well during these team fights. Now the Fire Giant actually already below half. They might just go for it. I don't know how much secure they're going to have. But Daddy Daycare is struggling to get in right now. The Fire Giant is dropped. Daman already goes in, but Cerberus got left on his own. He might get blown up. Y Guy does get away. Great freeze from the Ymir. Supernova not going to connect, but now there is a lone man in the backline. It is Bearded Bro, but he is going to pick up Y Guy. The taunt is true onto Cat 4200. That's going to be a full retreat. Now I think Daddy Daycare should be able to just turn around and get this Fire Giant. There's no reason for them to chase here. You have the double attack speed characters. I think that this Fire Giant is going to fall really fast. It's going to be up to Narcos to try to get in there and do something. Drop kick down early. This could be close. 3 members of Not Just Supremos here. The members of Daddy Daycare that are alive are getting a little low. Around the back goes Alex the First, but he's been spotted out by Dom. All of a sudden, you have Narcos on the back line. He is going in. There's a jump. Daddy Daycare secures it. Jaragon, though, dies to Zelda. Zelda getting very low. Danzaburo might be able to catch her with that movement speed. No, he's just going to back up. But Domim on the other side has bitten off more than he can chew. Only 2 members of Daddy Daycare are going to retain this Fire Giant. 3 alive, so you get fire. Your backline gets to keep it. Not as clean as you might have liked, but they do secure fire.
They do. And I mean, honestly, again, that just comes down to Nacho Supremos make a weird type of pull on that Fire Giant. They wait a way too long in order to say, okay, we're backing out now. We're back. It was a bait. Ha ha ha. It's just a joke, guys. And then they kind of get slabber knocked after that. Like you gotta be a little bit quicker on choosing which one you're gonna do. And given their comp, they can't dedicate to the Fire Giant. They really can't. They have to take the fight because of the fact that Soul can out secure you so well. And even Danzaburo ult can out secure you because if Danza hits one of your gods and then boom, there goes the splash damage, there goes the stuns, Fire Giant's now ours, and you're just kind of dead in the water. I think that if Nacho Supremos had done that a little cleaner, they would have been able to come out on top. But nonetheless, they were able to put up a good contest after the Fire Giant was done by Daddy Daycare, which has left Daddy Daycare, sure, with Fire Giant on 2 of their ADCs, but 2 is a lot less than 5.
Yeah, I can't argue that. Obviously, I think at this point, the same thing with that Oni Fury secure. At the end of the day, you don't get everything you want out of that effect, as they're going to get another Gold Fury basically for free here. I believe that is primal, but you just really can't gold. Well, I can almost read. I saw Fury. I was close, but getting that extra little bit of gold and being able to finish off the spectral armor for Bearded Bro, who's forced to use the blink there, just getting those last couple of items in place might be the difference. Sometimes it really is just, do you have the item finished? And a little bit of extra gold, only a 2,000 gold lead, but these fights have been very close.
Yeah, and I like the call to pick up the Draugr. Draugr is actually going to really help with these defenses. Because one thing that's important to note is that Nacho Supremos have a great base defense.
Yeah.
Like they're probably their favorite place to fight in is going to be around a Phoenix. You have Stygian Torment coming out of the Cerberus. You have Winston Shamash coming out of Gilgamesh. The fact that he can drop kick somebody into a Phoenix and into more damage. Scotty can clear waves so well. She can disrupt their ability to disengage because of her ice. But Cerberus is probably in danger here. He's going to beat. I don't know if he makes it out.
I don't think he does. There hadn't been any CC used before that. He even uses the Stygian Torment, and it's not enough. Die gonna get that kill. That's just unfortunate. I don't know how much that's gonna affect them though.
It'll affect them pretty severely. The fact that they're gonna go 40 seconds without one of their tankiest dudes, and they're gonna go 40 seconds without that Stygian Torment. That fact actually went on cooldown. even though he didn't finish the animation. So it's going to be a little longer than 40 seconds that you're not going to have that resource really on these defenses. Now, what is going to help you is the fact that Daddy Daycare are really taking their time with it. I assume that
Yeah.
they're waiting for relics to come back up on particularly the blinks on Osiris and Fafnir, because that's really their engagement tools. But Cerberus just that was just kind of a mental slip there. You knew that they did Pyromancer. You really
Mhm.
had to book it from there as fast as possible. And a really good pick on Daddy Daycare side. But I still like Nacho Supremos' defense here.
I agree. I'm kind of surprised you brought it up. Just not really a lot of grouping coming out of Daddy Daycare at all. Really, they're not going to get any towers off of that fire giant that has now gone away. It looks like they're just trying to farm up and be ready for the next one. That does buy enough time for the Hunter's Cow upgrade. It does buy enough time for the Pythagorean's piece to be finished. But I don't know. I feel like that just was not a worth fire giant. They get a kill onto Cerberus, and that's kind of the only thing they did with that entire fire.
Yeah, and I think that's a mistake. I want to be upfront about it. It's a mistake. You have 3 towers on the map. You only had to push a Phoenix, but you can push out these towers. I mean, you had Fire Giant on your 2 ADCs. You have a Fafnir. Really, as soon as you get a pick on that Cerberus, why solo tower still up? Why
Yeah.
why is mid tower still up? Like, there's no way they try to fight those, because if Nacho Supremos tried to defend a tier 2 at this point in the game, they could lose the game off of it. So then pressured him, forced him to make mistakes. Right now, you kind of just forced them to kind of look for farm where they can. Now, you did grow that gold lead, but still, it's not going to be that significant at this point in the game, in my opinion.
No, it should not be, and it's going to come down, I think, to just you mentioned it, right? I fully agree. Not just Supremo's base defense is going to be incredible if they end up in that situation again, but we haven't. Uh oh,
Oh
nothing
no,
happened. No. That's
no, they
fine.
saw that. They got.
Oh, Stygian Torment though used on no one.
Oh no,
Are
everybody.
we? Oh, Bearded
Oh,
Bro is able to jump away. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
Osiris
Okay.
ulted too. So okay, ult for ult.
But yeah, but Osiris ult's on a lower cooldown, right? Isn't it like 80 or 75 already at base?
But Cerberus has 40% cooldown reduction. So,
Oh,
yo
actually, he's
boy,
got 47% cooldown reduction
yeah,
with
he gonna get that. He gonna get that back real
Okay,
fast.
fair enough, fair enough. Yeah, unusual there, and now Daddy Daycare really backing up a little bit. I don't know. I need to see more cohesion with this Nacho Supremos team. It seems like they have so many tools that they're using all at the same time, which is allowing one set of beads to get rid of 3 or 4 ultimates for you. Alex the First, though, getting a lot of good poke. Domim already below half health. Jar goes in. They're just looking for a little bit of poke, and now the fight is on. But Domim's so low already. Once a Shemesh going to finish him off. Narcos just gets that kill for free. Alex, though, is in the backline. He is dead. Way overextended there. The rocket coming in. Danzaburo is on it. He's not going to find a target, but he has scared everyone off. Now it is on to the frontliners. Bearded Bro going to fall down to White Guy. Cat is up, but the damage is very divided right now. Good wall from the Ymir. Fafnir detransforms. Afro, though, not giving up the chase just yet. Full retreat is Nacho Supremos, although they do have the numbers advantage. Both backliners still alive for Daddy Daycare. This should be a fire giant if they don't get back very quickly, but they messed up the leash. Aphrodisiac hit it first. Jar isn't doing it. They're not going to get it.
Yeah, no, and that was honestly like if Alex the First doesn't go full like aggro in that, they just hard to win that fight. I just want to make that very clear. Alex saw an opportunity. I don't blame him. He saw an opportunity. He wanted to go in there, flicker, find the elemental mastery ultimate to basically do as much damage as possible. But then he dies because guess what? That Danza got crit, and you're Merlin. You're gonna die. That's just how that works. So if he had stayed back and been able to free cast, which was like also gonna be that possibility, I think Nacho Supremos just come out on top in a very good way. But important to note here is that the relic usage from Daddy Daycare was a lot heavier outside of the back line. Blinks are down on the Fafnir and Osiris, and so is the Horrific on the Osiris. Beads are down on Gilgamesh and Scotty, and the Aegis on Scotty as well. So this might be a dangerous situation here for
It
Nacho
certainly
Supremos.
It certainly could be. Not just Supremos, though. They have been slow to get to this fire. They're going for it. Daddy Daycare wins the 50-50. already low blue health bars there as Dom is getting beaten down. Stygian Torment gonna be enough. Dom is gonna fall to Alex the First. In the backline, Narcos is dead. Jaragon is gonna pick up Cat. Zelda picks up Jar. This is a 2-for-2 so far. Bearded Bro on his own in the backline, not gonna be enough damage. He is gonna fall as well. All of a sudden, things are going from bad to worse. And yet again, enhanced Fire Giant, I believe, still only going to the two backliners. Daddy Daycare keeps splitting on this dive and just getting blown up.
Yeah, and that again, something we highlighted picks and bans. Soul and Danza are probably the worst gods to fight around in the jungle. They are so unable to assist their team if there's a wall at any point. They're like, oh shit, there's a wall. I can't jump. I can't go through the wall. So I have to walk around very slowly and I gotta meet where my dive is. That's gonna take a long time. And that's really what you see in those situations is that Soul can't get into position to really free cast. Donza can't get into situation to free cast. Really, the only people that they were able to free cast on was the Gilgamesh that was diving them. Now, Gilgamesh, he needs to sell one of those items. If he's going to be diving this Donza, he needs to buy Spectral. He just, it is a absolute must. Get rid of the shifters, get rid of the Shoguns. I don't care. Get rid of one or the other. But you need to get that Spectral because there's no point in you diving into backline like that. Cerberus also not having Spectral is a little bit of gonna be a big problem for this team.
I agree, and Fire Giant or Gold Fury, excuse me, does go the way of Daddy Daycare. Fire Giant buff is on the backliners. Whether that's enough or not, we'll have to wait and see. But the siege is on. My real concern here, Aphrodisiac hasn't been able to finish the Soul Reaver, wasn't able to finish the Sacrificial or Blood Soaked, whatever choice that's going to be. That's 2 or 3 backs in a row where Aphrodisiac just hasn't had the gold. And I'm kind of wondering where it is. You're getting Gold Furies and Fire Giants. I guess only 1,800 gold in hand, but just strange stuff going on there. But hopefully it won't matter. The siege onto this tower is on. Nachos Supremos going to defend. How do you feel about them defending at tower?
I think they have a good opportunity to defend this tower, mainly because, again, you're going to force them to take poke. And the fact that Ymir can put up a wall just like that, block a lot of that damage that could go out. And Merlin can just full clear these waves. You're really going to delay Daddy Daycare's ability to even push up at all. I really like this call. Daddy Daycare really have to make an aggressive play, and that's going to be it right there.
That's aggressive, and certainly it is. Donovan, though, on the back line, instantly blown up. You just cannot go back there. No luck getting through the Ymir wall either. Right now, it is just a death for Daddy Daycare. That is the only thing that's gone on. The back line is starting to get run down. This has just not been enough damage, but Alex the First again ends up in the enemy backline and dies. Jar will fall to Y-Guy, but Dai has a ton of damage. There's no one left that can really box him. I think this is going to be a full disengage. 2 for 1 so far. Nachos Supremos losing their mid laner, killing some of that dive. I'm not sure if they can defend again, though. Alex the First has been so much of their damage. Blink in from Ymir not going to be enough. He's going to get taunted in. The wall not enough to save him. Drop kick is good. The rocket, though, going to find Zelda instantly blown up as well. It is Dai. He is putting them on his back. Triple kill for the ADC. Now he's moving on to Narcos. He's next in line. Big money bags there. And a quadra kill for Dai violently. Welcome to the game. Welcome to the SDL, Dai.
Again, all of that has to do with the fact that none of their backline, none of the dive had Spectral. Gilgamesh now gets Spectral.
Yeah.
It's a little late. It's a little late. And like it's gonna be one of those things that's gonna be frustrating when you rush back to VOD and you're gonna be like, bro, why was Donza doing so much damage? And it's literally because you're running at him with no Spectral and he's hitting you for 400, 500 a basic. Add on the kin size on top of that.
Yeah.
You're talking like 500 a basic on these onto these backliners. I mean these frontliners, and then the backliners they might as well not exist. That's like 600 a piece. So you really have to get those Spectrals online.
And being able to just ult. Oh my God, Alex, are you dead? You better get out of there. Being able to just hold the ult and then walk down Zelda with the rocket and an auto. That's huge. I mean, great fight for Dai, but I think you're right that you can't leave the door open for that kind of activity from the enemy ADC by just not having a Spectral. Now you have 2. I want to see 3. I want to see Y-Guy getting rid of that Stone of Binding. We're 35 minutes into the game. There's no reason why you should still have it.
Yeah, and this is just a tough situation. It's just so frustrating, right? Again,
Yeah.
um, there's not really a reason for Die to really get that type of damage off. Like,
Hmm.
and what's also frustrating is that really Alex needs to realize that his part in the game at this point is that he's like the biggest disincentive to trying to push a tower. He cannot be the one to dive into the backline and die.
Oh, and now Zelda getting picked on a little bit by Dom. And Dom not by himself here though. Oh, a huge drop get from Narcos. Stygian Torment gonna grab just one, put him into the team. Bearded Bro is separated for now. Jumps into Cat. Aphrodisiac finding too much damage. He has to back up for now. But Bearded Bro ran right into Alex the first. Daman not gonna be able to finish him off either. This has been a tragic fight so far for Daddy Daycare. Both of their dive are now gone, and Jar, he's getting in there as well. I think he's just gonna try to walk away. Not just Supremos though could look to just walk at this next fire giant, and this is 36-minute EFG. This you can't lose this one.
Yeah, this is tough because Daddy Daycare do not have the best defense. Their defense is significantly weaker, not just
Yeah.
Supremos. You just don't really have good stall, and if Ardio tries to step up in order to stall, there's a good chance that Ardio just straight dies at the end of that. Um, Again, like that. Nacho Supremos kind of have all the tools necessary to win.
Mm-hmm.
Now they have to implement them correctly because again, what I saw in that fight is they said, "Yo, Dai's not here. Run at them. Just
Yeah.
run at them. Dai's not here. He's not gonna be able to put out the damage that they need, and we have a lot of lockdown, so we're just gonna do that." Now the positioning around this fire giant is gonna be essential. I'm not sure if this is gonna be free. In fact, I know it's not going to be, but uh Nacho Supremos should have it in their mind that this is going to be one that they can contest. Cerberus waiting for that spectral armor as well, and Scotty finishing that Deathbringer is going to be pretty
Yeah.
massive.
Yeah, and we see Dai selling his Iqbal for the Deathbringer as well. He's got a ton of crit, but Lucio, where's the pen?
Uh,
Just Wind even? That
yeah,
it?
Wind Demon and Dominance.
No, 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 no. Die.
Oh,
Die
die. Sorry.
violently.
Oh yeah, no. Kin size, man. They don't have pen, but we can pretend.
Okay.
I mean, that passive, it kind of like pen, kind
I
of
mean,
ish.
if I crit harder, it's kind of the same effect, right? That's
Yeah.
how that works. Okay, okay, just checking in,
Uh,
just making sure.
and now that's actually going to be. I'm glad
Oh,
you
a
mentioned it.
huge pull. Sorry, go ahead.
No, no, no. Go, 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 go.
We got the wins going. They're on the move. Aphrodisiac, good beads. The Supernova not going to find a target, but Narcos gets locked down. Jargon going to get it. Big red numbers coming out. Jargon going to get credit, but that's Die violently in the back line. Bearded going to kill Zelda, and the Rocket is going to catch Cat as well. The freeze is good, but it's not going to last long enough. Big wall, but no one's going to fall to it. Die violently picks one up, and in the back line, it is just Y Guy. They're going to run it down here. No need for the Fire Giant. Left side Phoenix looks like it's going to fall on its own to those Fire Minions. Y Guy being chased down, but I think that they'll just invade straight through that left lane or middle Phoenix. This is over.
Yep. Yeah. Look, how that fight could start off so well for Nacho Supremos for it to just fall apart again has to do with the positioning. Alex is going in there and just eating all the crits from Danzaburo. That cannot
Yeah.
happen when you. And I like the way that Alex plays. Alex really wants to get in there, kind of show off his worth in terms of the mage damage he can output. But he really has to think about when the other ADC has crit, you're not gonna have enough time to press your buttons. You're just gonna die, and that's exactly what happened. He went to go channel the Dragon Fire, and it was gone. It's dead. That was it.
Yeah,
Just
especially with all that crit and the Deathbringer. You may only have flat pin built in terms of the items, but it doesn't matter. You're critting. You're quit. He's getting hit for 1,000 in auto. You don't live that. A very tough game, but a great job for Daddy Daycare. I mean, tougher game too, but I think they did a great job of staying with it.
Yeah, but I mean, I do want to again. I feel like at least game two, Nacho Supremos just kind of dropped the ball at certain points where they care, yeah, in the position to pick up the ball and run with it. But Nacho Supremos had to drop the ball first. Like they had
Yeah.
so many good opportunities to kind of lock down the game and get that win. But just there's got to be a little bit more communication. And the important thing here, though, this is week one, right? All right, one
Hmm.
loss in the early in the season is really not the end all be all of any team. In fact,
Right.
I'm of the mentality. Now I'm a little biased here, but losing the first week is going to be is a good thing, right? Because you get stuff that you can learn from immediately. You don't find that out
Right.
in the middle of the season. You find that out now. You get it ready. You start working towards it for the rest of the season. Daddy Daycare, however, played phenomenally in game one. In game two, Dai just took advantage of the build pathing that Nachos Supremos did, and he did that so well. Yargon also popped off at the end there.
Yeah.
He was like, yo, Dragon Breath on 5 people? Hit me up one more time.
Yeah, a great game and really a good set overall for both teams. I think a good start to the season, some stuff to work on, but good smite. And you know what? We'll be right back, and I believe we're gonna have Die Violently himself up here in the booth to do a little. Hello, everyone, and hey, welcome back. We just saw a great set. Had the Daddy Daycare boys pull one out. You know what? We've got one of them right here with us. Die Violently. Welcome to the booth. How you feeling? How you feeling after that one?
Feeling good. We got the first win of the our season, so feeling strong about our performance. Yeah.
That's always good. Yeah. Well, you mentioned it there, first win of the season. How important was it to you all to get that first win and start out strong?
I don't think it was too important. I mean, I think we're gonna like struggle, and we struggled preseason during scrims and stuff, so that we could get off on a strong note. But I feel like our team is definitely just very good vibes all around. So whether we win or lose, we try to have fun out there, not really go out to win, just go out to play and have fun and make sure we're just staying competitive at the same time.
Always good to hear. That's a great mindset to have, I think. Well, I want to hear your thoughts just a little bit. What is the mindset going into a game two when game one you kind of rocked them? You were in a good spot pretty much the entire time. How do you stay calm going into a second round?
I mean, I felt like I felt fine going in the second round. I wasn't too scared of anything. I knew they'd probably ban Artemis, which they did, but I wasn't really necessarily looking for Artemis in the first game, and they kind of just gave me it. So I just played it. She's not one of my main people I'd like to play, but going into game two, I know I'd have to mix it up with another god because they kind of saw what I did on Artemis, and I've heard of the other carry playing something different. I was kind of expecting a Scotty, and I knew if that came out, I could play something more kind of team oriented or something, and that's kind of went towards Danza. I was thinking Rama, but they banned Rama, so game two, I was just trying to focus on not getting ganked because I felt like game one they really didn't pressure me that much, and it gave me too much room to just farm and get ahead. And so game two, I just went with strong mindset, just play smart, try not to die, not get ganked, get my wards up, and just get to the late game. Because if I get late game, I'm gonna take over.
Yeah, and take over you did. Congratulations to you all. Well, I want to give you the opportunity here. Give any shout outs, anybody on the team, anybody like that.
Shout out to everyone on my team. Shout out to my support. Uh, he's best support in the league. I mean, he could play anything, but he's a good buddy of mine, and our chemistry is the best in the league, bar none. Um, my jungler, my mid, everyone, my solo. It's just the team all around. I love my team. Good vibes. Just I always go in a match. Just I'm not stressed because I'm out there to have fun.
Well, that's great to hear, and thank you so much for joining us. Lucio, why don't you take us away here?
All right, that'll do it for us tonight, man. That was a great set that you put out, a great game too as well. But I think that does it for us tonight. Now, however, we do have another game later tonight at 9 p.m. So make sure you're here. Last RSL set of this week, and I will still be here too. So if you like, the Hispanic pronunciation and all that, you better be here too. But otherwise, we'll catch you on the flip side.